right, this is Stephen Ortiz from So Much Fun Cigar Lounge with another episode of Beyond Smoke. And I have two guests with me today, Francisco Almonte and George Ashes. We also have someone in the background there, Mick Grant. Give me a thumbs up, Mick. Mick is an old, there he is. Mick is a great friend of mine as well, and as family to you as well. So I wanted to get you guys on this podcast. We've taken it a little bit beyond just the usual kind of like cigar review stuff. And I really want to hone into the personality, the manufacturer, the man behind the blends, and let people understand. I know, Francisco, you've had plenty of conversations with many people about your journey in the cigar industry. And I still think it amazes me that there are some customers out there that still don't know about DBL cigars, and they've been missing out all this time on what cigars you offer them, because I think what you bring to the industry has been pretty phenomenal in the last, the years you've been in the business. So if you can give me something of a background, I know you've talked about in the past. I would love to hear the story about your story about how you got into the industry, even as far back as you want to go. And let's just see if we can get through that a little bit. And then I want to talk about the future of DBL Cigars.
Well, I really appreciate that you take the time to have that kind of beautiful conversation, talking about our background, our life, our passion, our DBL Cigars company. And for me, it is an honor to talk a little bit about me. Where I'm from Dominican Republic, Tamboril in the north that belongs to Santiago, which is the state. And Tamboril is named and known as the capital of the cigars manufacturer. All our life have been in the business, in the cigar business. I'm the third generation in the family. Imagine over 178 cigar factory. That was the last number I got. It's more already. And this is what we have living for life since our grandparents in the business growing tobacco. My grandmother from the what we call La Linea, which is in the northeast of the country, almost in the border of Haiti. That's where my grandmother comes from, and her whole family was growing tobacco. And my dad, with his company, and, get in love with the tobacco because of my grandmother. And then, since I was a kid, I begin getting in love with the tobacco. Believe it or not, my whole life had been in the cigar business, with my dad working for about 15 years with his company. At that time, the name of the company was El Rey, that means the king. And then it was more cigars to work locally in Dominican, for mini market, supermarket, for the people that work in agriculture, people that work very hard in construction, That was the people that smoked back in the day in our country. The people from the city in the 60s, 70s, they don't smoke cigars. But the people from the countryside, they really love cigars. And it reminds me, my grandmother, that she used to take the 4 darkest cigars from my dad's factory, excuse me, and she loved strong and Petit Corona. We call Perrito, little dog. That's how we call the cigars that we used to sell in mini market, supermarket, and in the country market. And then I went to Fuente, and it was like a rustic diamond, and that I need to make it better. So I learned, how to be in a global company, cigar company. And I learned from C fermentation, sorting. When I say sorting, we're talking about the wrapper, the filler, and the binder, and then how to teach new cigar rollers to make different vitola. And for me, it was an honor to be in Fuente Factory because I learned how to make off can of vitola, and then I pass it out or that skill to new rollers back in the 97 with the cigar boom. And then I finished college and I got the opportunity to work with LFD. LFD was a boom new company. It was a company that was born in the 1996. And, you know, Lito Gomez was a guy that he doesn't know a lot about tobacco, but for me, it was a guy that very smart guy, that he do his best to learn about all the processes, how to grow tobacco, how to blend cigars. And in 2000, I began working with him, and we begin blending, you know, different blend. At that time, nobody knows Dominican as a premium cigar in the full body side. Only Ernesto Pérez Carrillo was the only guy that had with the Series R's, La Gloria Cubana. He got a cigar that the people really have respect in the full body side. So that's why LFD become with that name at that time as the Casa de Ligero, the Ligero house, because we begin releasing full body cigar as the Ligero, the double Ligero, the Limitado number 1, 2, and 3, the small batch 1, factory press, the Lito Gomez 10, the Coronado, and the rest is history. It became a very known brand at that time, and everybody knows LFD around the whole world. And after 8 years working with Lito, I decided in 2013 to create my own company. It took me years. When I moved to New York, it took me years to work in this project. And finally, in 2013, we got it, and we released in the 2013 trade show in Vegas, Nevada. We launched our brand. We don't have any booth. I just have some sample that I share with friends. And believe it or not, we got 13 accounts in the show. And then I started working very hard. The people like our product. Sometime when I used to get into a cigar shop, trying to open an account, people ask me, why should I put your cigars into my humidor? And I say, it's simple. Let's take 5 cigars of the top search cigars that you have. Let's remove the label, and let me take 5 of my cigar, and I'm gonna remove the label, and let's give away for the customer, and let's see what they say. After that, people begin up, putting orders, and in less than 2 years, I was selling 150,000 cigars. 150,000.
So this started in 2000. So you started this in 2013, which means I met you probably, what was it, 2015 or 16? So you were 3 years
in 2015.
child in
2015. Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you think about coming from Arturo Fuente and La Flor Dominicana, and you absorbed, it sounds like, a lot of what was good about those companies, but you also took with you what you wanted to apply yourself, because it seems to me that you have been playing with the tobacco from not only Dominican Republic, but I tend to find some of the blends have different regions you're bringing into your factory
Peruvian
as well.
tobacco, which I love that tobacco. I use in my formula as a binder. The Mexico tobacco. Let me tell you, Mexico back in the day, I never can come up with a good blend. at the beginning of 2000. And when I released the Maduro blend with Maduro from Mexico, Arapiraca wrapper, it was amazing. The people love it. But let me tell you, Stephen, when you mix it up different soil from different countries, you have more probability to make a better cigars than using everything from the same country, from the same soil, from the same climate. Even that I grow tobacco in Dominican, you have different areas that the tobacco tastes different. Always is good to try other tobacco. For example, I was talking with Mick today. He introduced me Paraguayan tobacco that I never had tried. And let me tell you, interesting, really good tobacco with a lot of flavor. Colombian tobacco, really interesting tobacco. So it's about that. You need to look at other options outside your country in order to make good blend. And that's why when you go to a humidor, you see different tobacco from different country, different soil, and that's why you need to have different choice. And
Yeah.
you have hundreds of faces in the humidor. That's why people sometimes they like some peppery, spicy taste. They should go for Ecuadorian Sumatra. For example, the formula. Formula is a very spicy tobacco with a lot of flavor profile that you don't gonna get in the Maduro cigar, because in the Maduro you get some sweetness. And let me tell you something. Most of the people, they think Maduro is a strong wrapper. And sometimes when people is looking for a Maduro cigar, they looking not for a strong cigar. They looking for a full body, a complexity cigar that gives you some body plus sweetness. If you're looking for the more powerful wrapper, full body is the sun ground Ecuadorian Sumatra. And natural wrapper like the Habano, like the Cameron, is more spicy sometimes than the Maduro. You don't get a spiciness in the Maduro. What you get in the Maduro is more sweet.
Yeah.
The
It's
wrapper from
interesting.
Mexico.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I do have a lot of customers that are challenged when I say that. When I tell them, they always look at the wrapper and they say, "Oh, it's going to be too strong for me." And I begin to explain to them, because you have a Maduro wrapper, we're not talking about a specific sort of wrapper type. It's the fermentation is longer, and I try to explain them this, and this is when it makes sense to them.
But
I asked them.
it's not just the fermentation is longer. It's because a tobacco negro. It's a kind of seed that is a black finish on the fermentation.
So that would be the process of aging.
When you do fermentation, for example, the ligero leaf from some kind of tobacco seed like piloto cubano need longer time because it's ligero and it has a lot of oil. The tobacco negro, like the broadleaf from Connecticut, the broadleaf from Pennsylvania and Mexico, need a lot of time, but you get the color black is because it's the characteristic of the tobacco seed. All right.
Okay.
For example, the Sumatra, the color is more brown. It's a brown color. The Habano is more reddish, more Colorado color. The Connecticut is more yellow. All right. And the Candela is more green. It's all about the tobacco seed, how you cure the tobacco in the tobacco barn, plus the fermentation. All right.
Right.
If you want to get a darker Connecticut, what you have to let the tobacco on fermentation for a little longer time and putting a little more humidity.
Yeah, because I it's hard for sometimes some customers to grasp the idea that if you take a banana from the shopping market and you bring it home and you let it sit and you watch it over weeks, and it gets darker and darker over time. But if you ever see all the black spots in that banana and you take a taste of that banana, it gets sweeter.
Right.
So the Maduro, to me, is a process of actually not just changing the color, but the tobacco gets sweeter over time.
Right. Like the Cameroon from Africa. It's a
Okay.
sweeter wrapper, very sweet.
So let me
But
ask you this:
it's
can you
not
have
just the
a
seed. It's not just the seed, sorry. It's the soil. It's the soil. Because if you grow Habano in Cuba, and you grow Habano in Ecuador, and you grow Habano in Dominican in Mexico, it's going to have a different taste because of the soil, because of the climate, because of the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it depends. What is the worst wrapper for you and our customer? Indonesia. And Indonesia is the same sea, Sumatra, that you grow in Cameroon, Africa, and it has a different taste.
Okay.
So it's about the soil.
Yeah, because Indonesian. Yeah, because you would think the Indonesian tobacco has no flavor. It doesn't seem to have. I remember talking to you about that. You had mentioned a lot of times
It
in
is almost
blenders.
neutral. It is almost neutral, but it has that kind of flavor. What is good from the Indonesia is the combustion. That is perfect. The ash, it
Right.
hurt the wrapper with the combustion. But the Indonesia, if you make an Indonesia cigar 100%, it has flavor. Not the flavor that people like it. But if you go online and you order some Indonesia tobacco, you will see you're gonna find for $25 a bundle. It's not a big deal, but it has some kind of flavor. Not the flavor that most of the people is looking, but it's because of the soil, my brother. So
Yeah,
going back to the background, then in 2015, 2014, I began growing our own tobacco. So we began growing tobacco, and that's why there is a DBL before 2019 and a DBL blend after 2019. Why? Because we begin using our own tobacco, and that was an improvement in our blend. And let me tell you, a big improvement, because in 2019, it was like a pork corn that the company grew like crazy. And in 2019, we were selling around 600,000 cigars. And that was because all the blend get better tobacco, more consistency. So we got 5 years already putting in our blend 65% of our tobacco. So if you see the second generation, it's a Dominican tobacco that it has. And let me tell you, we're supposed to make 1,000 boxes, right, George? And and most of the people say, hey, you better continue with that cigar. And we have sold more than 5,000
That's what I'm smoking right
boxes
now.
of the second generation. It's the same with the ramen number 3. The people really want at the ramen number 4, but they want to keep it. And it has been such a full blend that we released after we had the tobacco, and the people really love it. The 10th anniversary, the people love that cigar. The formula, people love the Peruvian, the combination between the Peruvian and Corojo from our tobacco field, and then Ecuadorian Sumatra. It make a perfect combination that has a unique flavor that the people really enjoy that. And if you go with the 30 feet Cameroon wrapper, Songran, it's not Cameroon from Africa. It's a something that a project that we made a few years ago in Ecuador with a friend of mine. And Cameroon Songran with the 30 feet and the second generation, let me tell you, have been a hit. People love the blend, and believe it or not, in and out, our brand is my favorite cigar, the 35th anniversary. It's a cigar that I need to sit down and focus on the cigar, because the different transition and flavor that cigar brings you every inch is a special. It's a lot of complexity that cigar has, and I love it.
Is that the 35th anniversary?
The 35th.
You mentioned?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really a good cigar, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
a
that has the
medium body
Cameroon
cigar,
wrapper,
but with a lot of flavor.
Does it have Cameroon wrapper on it?
Cameroon wrapper. From the top of the plant.
It's really good.
We got the second generation that has Cameroon wrapper. From the second, third priming of the tobacco plant of the Cameroon, and we have the Mafu Cameroon and the 35th anniversary that is some ground, but the crown leaf of the tobacco plant. So we take the crown, the gordo, and the crown leaf. So this is how you have the tobacco plant. You have what we call libre pie, which is the leaf at the bottom of the tobacco plant that we don't use. And then we have the second priming that is more the second generation color that you can get it for the second, and the middle, what we call centro fino of the tobacco plant. Then you have the centro gordo and the crown leaf. We use the centro gordo and crown leaves from our Mafu Toro size, Gorda size, and the 35th anniversary.
So let me ask you what, I'm assuming, because I do, you might want to adjust your camera. You're getting your cut off here a little bit at the top. You can adjust your camera so you don't get cut off on the top there. There you go. What is it? I'm assuming you guys are always looking at what to bring to the market again. And let's start off by what is your process for bringing something to the market? And then also, what is in the more pipeline? Do you have something that you're working on? I don't know if it's something you can disclose yet, but you know, what is your process of bringing something to market?
My brother, wait on Saturday, and I'm gonna blend that. It's gonna change the mind of what the people has about Dominican tobacco. I'm gonna bring something that we grew. It's a hybrid, and George, Mick, we have tried that tobacco, and Mick, I would like that you talk with Steve. What do you think about the blend that you have been trying in the last 2 days?
I would say what's unique about the tobacco is when people think of the Dominican, they don't think of the pepper spice. People usually think of Nicaragua for that pepper spice. This is the first tobacco that I've tried the Dominican Republic, particularly that has that strong black pepper spice on the retrohale. And it is very different. And so I think that's really going to change people's minds about Dominican tobacco.
So George, you tried that cigar, George, yesterday. We were doing an event, not yesterday, Saturday, before yesterday. It was Saturday, right? Yeah. What was the reaction of the people? Plus, what was your reaction about that cigar that I'm bringing to Somers Point? Something different.
All the customers, their expression as soon as they took a few puffs was wow. They all said wow. They couldn't believe how strong it was. A couple people, their eyes were tearing a little bit. And for me too. I retrohaled a couple times. It brought some tears to my eyes. Yeah, the strength was nothing we've done before.
Let me tell you. I know you have a bunch of guys that they really like black peppery taste. Let me tell you, they're gonna love it. So I'm gonna bring 50 cigar bunches, all right, and I'm gonna put different wrapper. Even that you put the Connecticut, it's gonna be a full body cigar. You're gonna feel the black peppery, my brother.
You know what's interesting?
Challenge. Always, I love challenge. And that's why I had this guy, Mick Graham, that, hey, when he lived in Jersey, he used to come every week to Red Bank to talk about tobacco, to talk about new tobacco, always looking for new. And let me tell you, my whole life, had been waiting for a tobacco like that. Believe it or not, I wasn't expecting that, but we did some change on the fertilizers, and we took a place that we never had grown tobacco in Cana Chapeton with my farmer. And let me tell you, the resource is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You're gonna see it on Saturday. And
wow,
you will see
that's
what the
gonna be
people
exciting.
say about that cigar. Plus, you're going Dominican with us, and you will see
Yes.
how many pounds of that tobacco we have. So we're gonna take leaf of tobacco, we're gonna make sure root to all your people, and then gonna try, and then we're gonna talk. Let me tell you, our philosophy, my philosophy, is flavor, is complexity. Our cigar has flavor because as soon as you put good flavor, a good transition, a good complexity into the cigar, you are releasing a good thing that the people is going to enjoy. And this is my vision.
Yeah.
But with this cigar, it's not about peppery. It's about flavor too. And you're going to try, and you're going to let me know what do you think about that cigar. But the feedback has been very good with that tobacco, and I'm very happy to release that.
That's great.
Plus, next year is coming something very interesting. Interesting with the South tobacco. I began growing this year, but I had tobacco since 2 years ago. It's gonna be a small batch, but you will see something different from our country. And I got that conversation with Carlito Fuente. Carlito said to me, the better days for Dominican is coming, my brother. Because one of the tough thing that we have, it was creating a high-end wrapper, and we got it. We got it, and it's in the South. The
So you've been
sweetness of that tobacco.
in a wrapper leaf.
Say that again?
You've been working on a wrapper leaf
My brother,
from the Dominican Republic. Is that what I heard?
I have been working in wrappers since 2004, and I wasn't satisfied as today that we got before last year. We got something in the South that we did by a friend of mine, and it was amazing. I'm gonna share a picture with you on Saturday. I'm not allowed to send to nobody, but I can show to you, and you will see how that wrapper look. On November, we're gonna have some pounds of that tobacco that you're gonna see it, and we're gonna try, and you will see the result. Also, normally Cuba, Ecuador, Nicaragua, Honduras have been very popular with wrapper. Very popular, right? Dominican, only Fuente, Davidoff, and LFD was the only that grow wrapper. But it was tough for them to get a big percent. But now in the South, my brother, it's like Pinar del Rio. It's very tasty, it's sweet, it's just amazing. The combustion, the flavor, the taste of that tobacco, unbelievable. And next year, I'm gonna be releasing some tobacco, Habano from Mexico. It's the sweetest Habano I ever tried. It's the whiter ashes, the same as the Maduro. You know the Maduro is the whiter ashes that you can get in any cigar, and you're gonna see in the Habano, because the Habano, particularly, you have to retouch with the lighter and her with the Habano a little bit with the combustion. With the Habano, you don't have to do anything with that, and the taste is as sweeter as the Maduro, my brother. So many things is coming with our company, and don't forget that maybe in few years you're gonna try a Pennsylvania, all right, tobacco that is grown by a farmers that we supporting, and we're gonna be releasing that tobacco probably, I don't know, probably in 2009, 29 or 28. It depends when the tobacco is ready. So I always focus on the fear. I always focus on looking for something new. I always focus on keeping the consistency and trying something different to release in the market.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So, right, we're talking about a couple of things. This Saturday, we have you coming in to do your event with us, and it looks like we're going to be in for a treat or two. And then also, we have November, I believe it's 8th, 11th. We have a full factory tour, which some of my members here, about 10 of us, are going to join you, and we're going to have exposure to some of the tobacco you have been working on as well. Have these treats of DBL that are waiting for us this Saturday and in November. And I do want to ask a very simple question that I've been asked a lot from customers, and I can't seem to get the answer right. I know there has been, but there's this thing where people look at the outside, obviously, of the cigar. So they look at something dark, they say full body, full flavor, something more rich, more bold. They look at Connecticut, they think mild, medium, maybe more smooth, creamy. And I just heard you talk about this, where maybe on Saturday you can even put a Connecticut leaf on top of the new tobacco that you're bringing in, and it still has maybe a little bit more power, maybe a bit more strength to it. And what is it that comes across with blenders that, do you have to stick to the norm, or do you just stick to the norm because that's what people think? That a mild cigar is lighter and a more bold cigar is darker? Or could you play around with it a bit and throw people off?
This is funny. This is funny. On Friday, I was doing a private event with a friend of mine that he loved mild cigar. And I took one of those cigars and I put Connecticut wrapper just to see his reaction with that cigar. Immediately he lighted up the cigar and he puffed. He don't retro her. He just keeping in the mouth. He said, Francisco, I don't like that cigar. That is very strong cigar. So color doesn't mean that the cigar is or strong or medium or light. It depends. I know a lot of dark cigars, Maduro and Oscuro, that is not a strong cigar. Most of the Maduro cigar, most of them is medium or medium plus. Most of them, all right? Not full strength body cigar, no. It's very difficult. It's only few in the market. And let me tell you another thing. Do you know what is the more difficult wrapper to blend with? It's lighter wrapper. You know why? Because you don't do a lot of fermentation process. Because it's hard.
Is it too delicate?
It's very hard to blend a lighter wrapper that don't support, that doesn't have a lot of flavor. And this is how you as a blender have to come up with a great fillers in order to get a good flavor into the cigar. So you will see with a Connecticut wrapper that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys, how flavorful is that tobacco, even that you put a Connecticut wrapper. All right? The wrapper matter. You can make a better cigar if you have a good wrapper. But when you have like a Candela wrapper of a Connecticut wrapper, hey, you have to do some improvement into the blend. And that's why I'm not agree with a lot of people saying, oh, these cigars is 90% of the flavor come from the wrapper. I'm not agree with that. I'm not agree with that because it's a blend. It's a formula between different tobacco that is the same when you're cooking. Okay? If there is an ingredient that you forgot to put into your food, you're gonna taste it. And then you're gonna say, oh, this sauce is really good. But if you put a little bit of pepper, of a little bit of salt, or garlic, it's gonna be better. It's the same way you blend in cigar.
Right.
And blending It's not easy because you need to know every single leaf into the blend and understand each other, and then you have to pour each one to make a blend. All right, and we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna talk about that. There is some tobacco that doesn't match with other tobacco. All right,
Right.
and it depends. But the key of any great cigar is fermentation. That's
Mm.
the more important part of the process. Even that you have to grow a great tobacco, even that you have to make a great cigars, even that you have to let it sit for a long time in the sitting room. The more important is the fermentation, because if you get a good quality tobacco and you don't do the right fermentation process, you don't gonna get a good blend. It's very, very important the time, and that's why many cigars change the blend because of the fermentation. If you don't get a good fermentation
Yeah.
tobacco and you don't have a lot of inventory of tobacco, then you don't know what's gonna happen in the future with the crop that you're growing in this year. So
Right.
the
Mm.
key is inventory of tobacco and do the right fermentation process.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning, I think at one of our seminars or times together, the tobacco will tell you when it's ready.
Right.
You can't speed the process. It's time. It knows when it's ready. You'll know when it's ready if you're a good master blender. You'll be able to taste when it's ready, but you can never speed that process up. I mean, I'm sure you guys do things in the pilon, and your whole process of actually heating up the tobacco, but you should never cut corners on it. The time is probably best for the tobacco.
And it's really important to say that our cigar is natural. So when you take a Maduro wrapper, that you see our Maduro wrapper, sometimes it look light, black lights and something like that, because we don't paint. Our Maduro cigars is natural. And you have smoked a lot of Maduro for our company, and if you take the cigar into your lips, it doesn't let you like a stain, because we were natural. And this is really important to say. It's really important to let the people know that color doesn't mean flavor. When the cigar is fermented, the tobacco properly, it doesn't mean you're gonna get a darker color, because you lose oil when you do a lot of fermentation. All right, but the flavor is the key. You get more flavor on fermentation, less strength as longer you let the tobacco in fermentation. But the flavor is the key,
Hmm.
and you only get that with the time.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we're in for a treat, I guess, on Saturday for getting to try some of the new stuff you're coming out with. So I'm excited about that. I hope we have a nice crowd. Um, George, I want to, I know that you work for the Cigar Journal as well, and you've been working with them for, I don't know how many years now. If you have anything to say about your new articles coming out.
Yeah, I have a few about some smaller companies, like Colada Cigars. We just did a story about them, which DBL makes the cigar for them. He's a local Jersey guy. There's another cigar by an actor called Eric Martinez. He's been in a few Netflix shows and a few ABC series. He's got his own cigar that just debuted this weekend. So I did a story on him with that cigar. And then a story I was working on for a while, that's going to come out next issue, about like behind the scenes, about what it's like to be a cigar sales rep. How it's not always as glamorous as people think it is, where you smoke cigars and
Interesting.
or you just smoke free cigars all day. So I kind of wrote about what it's like to be a sales rep. So those are 3 stories coming out in the next issue.
Good. And will you be joining us in November when we do the factory tour, George?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay,
I sure
great.
will.
Perfect.
Be
Nick, are you
ready.
going to be there?
Be,
Nick Grant is actually here.
be ready for November. It's gonna be interesting. I think you're never gonna forget that experience. We're gonna have a great time together. Only one family. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a group about 35 people that we're gonna enjoy the whole processes in the tobacco field, in the cigar factory, in the cigar box factory, and we're planning to go to Puerto Plata to do a Brugal tour in the #1 Dominican rum company, and probably we're going to a chocolate factory after that, and then we're gonna try to go to the beach to relax and eat some fresh fish. So it's gonna be from day to night, 4 days full of fun, and I hope you enjoy.
Good.
Be ready,
Yeah, we will.
dress nice and easy with short pants, more comfortable you can feel, and be ready to enjoy and smoke a lot of cigars.
Yeah. We're really all
What
excited.
I would like that Mick had been part of the tour, and Mick is joining us too for the second time, right, Mick?
Absolutely.
And Mick is one of my right hander in the tour. He heard me a lot because he knows the process from the seed until you smoke the cigar. So Mick, what can you tell Stephen and the Summer Points member about the tour?
Well, I think for people who have never done a cigar tour, it's important to see how much work goes into the product, how much passion and love is involved in cigars, and to understand the process. A lot of times we take it for granted, something that we smoke, and it's, you know, not a big deal. And when you see how much work and how it fits into the culture, you have a whole new appreciation for tobacco and for cigars. And that's very important. And Francisco is very much not just about conveying everything with cigars, but also with Dominican culture. And so that's another thing that you get with the DBL tour that's very unique. It's not just focused on cigars, but it's also focused on Dominican culture and sharing that with people. It's very important, and it's a great experience.
Well, we're really excited for it. There's going to be people who are upset that can't make it. I know it. But
I know
it comes
it's
with
gonna
the year.
happen, but do you know what is the good thing? There is a bunch of people they want to join us, and I said, listen, we have to give opportunity to new people to go and enjoy and learn. And as Mitch said, it's about the food, it's about the music, it's about how warm is the people. You know, people don't know you, they are very nice with you, and they want to give you the best. And when you go to the countryside, I think it's the best decision to go to any country because it's a different world with different people that they have more love to give than anything else.
Well, I think that's great. We're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Obviously, we'll also see you in November. But I just want to thank you for taking the time to join me tonight on this podcast. I'm looking forward to the future with you, not only in our lounge here, supporting your brand, but also the future, what can happen in terms of creating new cigars together someday. Who knows, right? So we'll see if that all works out for us. But
this is the perfect moment. This is the perfect moment to work together. And I would like to say to the old Summer Point, Steve, your wife, your staff, your members, thank you for the support. Thank you for the opportunity. You have been supporting us since day one that you opened the lounge. And we always have been there supporting you as always you ask for Francisco or George. We're going to take care of you. Thank you for everything. And we're looking forward to do a great event on Saturday.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off now. And thanks again for joining me again on Beyond Smoke. And we'll see you Saturday.
See you Saturday. Thank you.
Saturday.